Flights across country to pick up criminals. That's not unusual for law enforcement, but what if those flights were first class, risking taxpayer money?
A year-long investigation by the News 4 I-team is raising questions about who's looking into a local sheriff's department's travel budget. Investigative reporter Scott McFarland has the story you'll only see on News 4.
A trip to Las Vegas with stays at the MGM Grand. A long weekend right before Christmas to San Diego. Room service every night at the Omni Hotel, including a $90 king crab meal. 3 visits to McCormick and Schmick's restaurant. But these trips weren't vacation. You paid for them. Extraditions by the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office in late 2015 to pick up fugitives.
You ever do an extradition?
I have.
Is it a choice assignment, something people want to do?
It is.
Extraditions aren't unusual, but multiple deputies, both former and current, told the News 4 I-team it was the sheriff himself going on some of the trips. They asked us not to show their faces because they still work in law enforcement.
Does it seem odd to have a sheriff going on extradition trips?
Yeah, I think odd is a good word.
When the I-team first requested travel records for Sheriff Scott Jenkins from the sheriff's office, this is what we got. We do not have any records specific to the sheriff's travel. His travel does not require approval. Only after challenging them for any extraditions did we get these vouchers. 2 pages. Almost $3,500 spent by Sheriff Jenkins and another employee, Vanessa Blackstock, to pick up a man in Vegas wanted for grand larceny. And more than $4 grand for that trip to San Diego to pick up a woman on forgery charges.
So the way it normally worked, if it was west of the Mississippi, it was a 3-day extradition.
These trips weren't paid for by the county. The sheriff's office told us they were reimbursed by the state. So the I-team got copies of extradition trips by the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office over 2 years from Virginia's Supreme Court, which foots the bills. We found trips totaling more than $34,000. And we found one thing we didn't expect.
Flying first class for an extradition, is that normal?
Oh, absolutely not. We would fly regular coach there.
State records show both Sheriff Jenkins and Blackstock spent a combined $1,300 to fly first class, one way to Vegas, and $1,200 to San Diego. They were the only 2 county employees we found in the records flying first class, while 2 other deputies picking up a second fugitive on the California trip flew coach. That violates state policy for extraditions. A spokesperson for the Virginia Supreme Court told the I-team they're reviewing their internal processes to see why the first-class flights, which require prior approval, were not flagged. For months, the I-team tried to talk to the sheriff, but he said he didn't want to appear on camera. We stopped by his office, at a meeting of a public safety committee he sits on, and even tracked him to the Halloween event sponsored by the sheriff's department.
He is pulling away.
When he saw us, he just drove away.
If there was any discrepancies or anything going on with the sheriff, we'd know about it.
We did catch up with the County Board of Supervisors Chairman Jack Frazier.
He's flying first class.
Yes.
The county's not paying for that.
That make it okay?
Well, as long as the county's not paying for it, it does.
Sheriff Jenkins did answer questions emailed by the I-team, saying he's been on 5 of 105 extraditions, something he said previous sheriffs in Culpeper have done, and that he's aware of other Virginia sheriffs who do so as well. But 8 local sheriffs contacted by the I-team said they have not been on any extraditions. Sheriff Jenkins said he went on the trip in large part to see how other larger jurisdictions operated. And as for those first-class flights, he told us, in the past, the Supreme Court has reimbursed first-class airfare for me, and that I'm a big man and need a big seat. Even though state records show he did fly coach on the return flights with the prisoners.
People in the department know it?
Yes.
What were they saying about it?
We weren't allowed to really talk about it openly.
Sheriff Jenkins told the I-team ultimately prisoners repay the cost of extraditions through court costs when released. Virginia law does provide for the reimbursement of costs by those found guilty. The Virginia Supreme Court told us it has not received repayments for the San Diego or Las Vegas trips. Scott McFarland, News 4 I-team.